Hey everyone, I'm Jason Galka, and welcome back to A Ship Called Relation. Coming up, my top 4 signs that tell you that dead-end relationship is over. Plus, I'll have answers to your questions as always, and later in the show, Sink or Swim is back. It's happening right now on A Ship Called Relation. I'm Jason Galka, and welcome back to A Ship Called Relation. Today, the top 4 signs that show that dead-end relationship you're in is totally, completely over. Based on my own personal experiences, and as many as you know, I do the show based on my own experiences in life and what I've experienced in relationships, and today that's exactly what I'm talking to you about. But first, I want to introduce to you something a little bit different. I want to call it RHT, if you will, Relationship Hot Topics. And it's just things that I tend to research on the internet that is so interesting to me that I think you could totally benefit from. Number 1, it's always something that I'm interested in, is how to make him better in bed. That's just me personally. There are actually some natural foods out there on the market, very inexpensive, that can actually improve your sex life. And one of them is starting with pumpkin and sunflower seeds. Believe it or not, they actually boost zinc levels, which is totally one of the important minerals in boosting a man's sex drive. So if you're not having it as often as you want to, next time you go to the grocery store, pick up some of these things. Right, girls? I tend to talk to the staff that are in the room as well. Also, meat is another good one. Beef and pork contain high levels of L-carnitine, which is an amino acid that helps boost the libido and testosterone levels. So next time you're at the grocery store, definitely swing by the pork counter, okay? Uncle Giuseppe's, for one, has really great meats there, and it's totally fresh cut every day. Bananas, number 3, is a really great source, not only of potassium that we all need in our daily diets, but it also contains sources of vitamin B to help boost energy, and it also reduces stress. Now let me tell you, when a man is stressed, he's not going to be in the mood whatsoever. So anything that you can do to kind of reduce that stress level will totally help you in the sack as well. Number 4, raw nuts is another good one. No pun intended here, by the way. It contains L-arginine. Is that how you would say that? These words are so bizarre sometimes, which helps increase the production of sex hormones. Now, I happen to be like a lover of almonds and walnuts myself, so I happen to love them in salad. So, if you don't want to eat them plain, try adding them to your salads as well. And the last but not least is celery, which contains chemicals that help dilate blood vessels and increase your sex drive while enhancing climax, which is what it's all about, right, ladies? So those are just a few things. Next time you're at the grocery store, pick up a few of those things and try them out. I'm always willing to try something new myself, so whenever I find something that works, I want to share it with you. Also on the market, let me just take a quick sip here because I'm battling like the sinus infection thing. It's like allergies and everything happening now. This is the worst time of year for me. The second thing that I found on the market, if you've ever been a fan of that show Dateline NBC where they do To Catch a Predator, Brian Williams, that guy that used to be on NBC, he would do that show. And there's actually an app now for cheaters. So if you want to know if your man is cheating on you, download this app. It's called Reverse Lookup. But it's not the traditional reverse lookup that you're used to. It's for the phone where you can actually track his phone and see who he's dialed, who he's been texting, and then look up that number, and if you're lucky, you'll actually get a name. All right, so I thought that was really cool, actually. Like, that is like the alternative to, cheating, discovering it. And then, of course, that is a way to, that's one of the signs that says it's over if you're finding all these different phone numbers in his phone. So I thought that was pretty funny, actually. Cheaters absolutely hate it. So that's something to go by. Now, it's time to talk about the top 4 signs that say goodbye. And in my own experiences, that's how I do this show, is based on what I've learned over the years. I'm in my 30s now. I've now settled down. I'm engaged. We're planning a marriage, John and I talk about him all the time, so you know who I'm talking about here. But before that, the last relationship that I was in was for 8 years. And let me tell you, I kid you not when I tell you that it shouldn't have lasted any more than 3 months. Okay? of course, it always starts out, great. You're going out all the time. You're going to dinner. You're having this great time. And then over time, it starts to diminish, where the communication is getting less and less, and the affection is getting less and less. Those of you that know me have seen this show many times. You know I'm a very affectionate person. So that's very, very important to me. So I want to start with number one. The number one thing, your contact has become extinct. All right, now we all have busy schedules, and it's hard to sit down and spend hours at a time talking with one another, but you always make that time. And when you really love that person, you'll find the time, whether you're just laying in bed before falling asleep and just, talking it out and clearing the air before waking up the next day and starting fresh. So that's definitely something to be on the lookout for, is if you have absolutely no contact whatsoever, okay, well, next to nothing, let's say. Number two, your future has now become his past. I can't tell you how many times that we would, me and this other guy that I was with, we would plan these weekend getaways, we would do these vacation things, and then right at the last minute, I don't feel like going, or he was too sick to go, and it's really, you're going to cancel these plans that we've had for so long, and now we're not going to go and do anything. So if you find, ladies, that he's starting to cancel things like that very last minute, or he's not even going with you to your friends' parties that you're getting involved with or getting invited to, then it's sayonara. Number three, this is my favorite. You don't trust him as far as you can throw him. Kind of goes back to the to catch a cheater thing. You're finding panties that don't belong to you mixed into his things, hoop earrings, okay? Those are the classic signs that say that he's cheating, but not so much that. If you've noticed the affection has started to diminish away. I mean, I'm a very affectionate person. As you know, I talk about it all the time. I love my hand being held. I love being kissed and held at night, right? Who doesn't? If you find that stuff is starting to diminish, then maybe it's time to, call him out on it, question, what's going on here? And who knows? I mean, he might just tell you an answer you really don't want to hear, or it might be something that you could solve. But definitely, I'm very big on communication, as you know. Always communicate what your issue is and see how you can solve it together. Okay? Number four, last but not least, you've all become drama kings and queens in your relationship. You're constantly having verbal wars with one another. You're name calling, you're belittling, and you're just plain rude to one another. If you're now, let's be fair here. Sometimes we experience one of these things from time to time, perfectly normal in a relationship. But when you're having all four of these things at once, I think it's time to say goodbye, right? What do you think? It's got to be over. But again, communication is my biggest thing here, and it really does help if you could just sit down. Don't accuse one another of things. That's the worst thing you could do is accuse each other, and then you start this whole big war. If you actually just sit down and have a normal discussion, say, listen, babe, there's just a few things that I want to talk about in our relationship. I'm feeling kind of sad and alone. I just want to see what we could do to kind of fix this. You might have a really good shot at saving your relationship. But again, however, if you're showing all four of these signs, then it might be time to say goodbye to that. Now, I don't want people to get confused here on when I say it's time to say goodbye. If you're with this guy for a month or 2 months, 3 months, I call it the 6-month hump. If you can get over that hump, you have a pretty good shot at making it work, especially if the lines of communication are always open. However, under 6 months, if you're experiencing these things that I just talked about, then that might be the time to say, okay, goodbye. It's also hard for some people, I get this all the time, that people ask me because they do have feelings involved by then. Listen, if you're great to me and you're treating me the way I want to be treated and you're buying me things especially, I'll fall in love with you within a week. So I already have feelings invested. But, for me, it's okay, 6 months is a really good time to tell if you could trust a person, if you have, a connection with somebody. If you don't, then you're probably not meant to be with that person. And even if, you do have those feelings invested, well, think about why you have those feelings invested. I talked about this on the show last week, actually, when you do have that breakup. You feel very alone and very hurt because it's hopes and it's dreams and it's expectations that kind of went down the tubes. So you want to be careful also not to invest too much in the beginning of a new relationship, especially in the new stages. It's very hard, I know. We've all been there. I've been there, where I've dumped all of my eggs into one basket, and it didn't come out so pretty. So again, this is all based on what I've learned. And, I suck at relationships so you don't have to. And that's a great title of Bethany Frankel's book, by the way. Pick that up if you want to know a little bit more about relationships from a woman's perspective. It's a great title, and it totally fits. So yeah, totally just really don't invest so much in the beginning stages of a relationship. That's my biggest tip to you. It is now time for your questions, our viewers, here on A Ship Called Relation. We're going to start with Jennifer's question first. She's right here from Long Island. Hi, Jennifer. She says, Dear Jason, how do I tell a guy that I'm not interested in him in a nice way? Please let me know your thoughts, Jennifer. Boy, what a problem to have, right? Here's what I've always done. I'm 10 minutes late right now. Just constantly... we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here. It's very flattering when a guy wants to go out with us, but we're just not into him. But we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here. So, Jennifer, what I would tell him is, you're just so busy these days between work and school or whatever you have going on, you just don't really have the time right now. Prime example. About 2 years ago, before I met the love of my life, I was back in the dating world because I got out of that 8-year relationship, the one that I talked about earlier that should have only lasted like 3 months. Whole other show. But, I was going out and I was starting to date myself, and I was really bad at dating because I was in a relationship for 8 years. And so a couple of guys came up to me in a bar and they wanted to go out and things. And I was like, well, this is like my only night in town. I think I said I was from out of town. And so I told them I'm going home tomorrow, whatever. But more realistically, if it's people that you're going to be interacting with on a daily basis or live around your town and you're going to be seeing them all the time, you can't use that. But you could certainly say, oh, my work schedule changes every week. Hotel business is great for that because sometimes you're working 7 to 3, sometimes you're doing 3 to 11, sometimes you're doing overnight. So whenever they want to go out with you, just say that's the night that you're working overnight and you just can't go. Best way to handle the situation. And plus, you're not hurting their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nice that they want to go out with us, that they think we're attractive and they want to get to know us. But hey, if you're not interested, you're not interested. We're not looking to hurt anybody's feelings here. He's walking away, just let him be frustrated with you. I'd rather them be frustrated with me than have me put that dagger in their heart and slice them down the middle. You know what I'm saying? So good luck with that. Definitely just use hey, I'm already 10 minutes late. I don't know what to tell you. I can't go out. Our next question is written by Vivian. She says, my boyfriend and I have been having issues because he's always expecting so much attention from me. Get used to that. When I can't offer much more because I'm an employee, I work, and I'm also a mom. At this point, I don't know what to do, and he's also a very big nag, and I think we just lead very different lifestyles. What do you think, Vivian? Well, Vivian, I think, like I said, get used to that. Men are always going to be needy no matter what. But as a mom, as somebody who works a lot, supporting yourself, supporting your kids, no, your time is already pressed. So if you can find the time to even have a relationship, that's great. But you're going to need to find somebody that accepts your situation that you're in, that you are a mom, you are a worker, you're taking care of a house, I'm sure, or some sort of living arrangement for you and your kids to live in. So your schedule's already packed. If you do have some time to date in there, that's great. But you want to find somebody, I'm not saying break up with this guy, but you're going to have to explain to him, listen, this is my situation, okay? I'm trying to have a relationship. I'm trying to be a mom. I'm trying to make it work. Listen, if you live in the state of New York, it's already hard enough. Who's not working 2 or 3 jobs? Okay, so you need a man that's going to understand all of this. And so if it doesn't work out with him, then hello, bye Felicia, there's another one on the way. Don't worry. But I would try having a discussion with him first. If you do have feelings for him, I know it's not that easy to walk away. Talk about what the issues are at hand first. I know you said that you lead very different lifestyles. If you just don't think it works, it's just not going to work. Be strong enough to walk away. Maybe you get a friend out of it. All right, good luck to you on that, Vivian. Okay, one more question we have time for. This is actually written by Ryan, and Ryan writes us, I'm 18 years old, my girlfriend is 15, but will be 16 in June. Should we even be reading this? So let's assume she's 16. Let's assume she's underage. She'll be a junior in high school, and I'll be going to a local college very soon. She does dance, ballet every night, and we maybe see each other 3 times a month other than at school. We are at 2 very different stages of our life. I'm going to college, but she will still be in high school. We'll be together for a year in April, and I don't know what to do. I love her so much. Should I just be single and enjoy my life, or should we try and make it work? I just don't want to have any regrets later on. I would appreciate your thoughts, and that is signed Ryan. Well, Ryan, I think the first thing you should do is find somebody closer to your own age, right? I mean, she's okay. I don't know. It's kind of a toughie because it's like she's underage and he's closer to that. He is 18, right? And she's only going to be 16. Okay, I'm going to answer your question, but I think you should try to find somebody your own age. I think you're both very young. I don't think either one of you should be thinking about, future plans right now. It's a time to go out and enjoy your life. She's going to be in high school. You're going to be in college. Okay, you're going to come across so many girls in your time that I'm not saying that you're going to, think that they're prettier than her or better than her, but you're going to experience life is what I'm trying to tell you. And she's going to experience life. And in time, your regrets are going to be not experiencing that, I think. Okay, but number one, you're 18, she's 16. We don't condone that here on A Ship Called Relation. And number two, I think the two of you should just go on and live your lives. Remain friends, remain in contact. Definitely, reconnect if you do have a connection now when you're home from college. Get together as friends. There's nothing wrong with being friends if you're 16 and 18, okay? But something about having that relationship. I mean, I don't know the extent of their relationship. He didn't tell me anything about that. But that's a little uneasy for me. But definitely remain friends. I appreciate you reaching out, and I want to help you because I feel like the young people need help too. So that's why I'm taking your question. But go out and live life. Don't tie yourself down to something that's very uncertain. At that age, it's uncertain with a relationship. So good luck to you both. Welcome back. It's A Ship Called Relation today. And before we go, we're almost at the wrap mark. It is time for our favorite game of the hour, Sink or Swim, where I take your stories and decide the fate of your relationship. Should it sink or should it swim? Here we go. This week's question is written by Christine W., who writes, Dear Jason, I love my husband, but I think we've grown apart. When we met 10 years ago, he was so romantic, bought me flowers, held my hand in the car as we drove. We walked along the beach. He used to kiss me with such passion, and at the end of the date, we would have so much trouble saying goodbye and going home to our separate places. In recent years, since being married, it all seemed to diminish. Even his I love yous went to the short version, love ya. I hate that. He's so successful as a businessman, so I understand that his hectic schedule kind of keeps us apart also. But I also feel like our relationship has dropped to a roommate status. I hate that even more. Please help me. Should I sink this relationship or let it swim? I need all the advice you can give. Thanks, Christine. I love that you put that sink or swim thing in there. People love this game. Christine, I totally understand where you're coming from because those are all things that I love too. I say the words I love you. John says I love you to me. Sometimes he says love you, but it depends if we're running out the door. Understandable. It's understandable hectic schedules. Again, for me, this is going back to the whole communication thing where you just need to have a discussion with him. Whether it's, like I said, you could just lay in bed before falling asleep and just hash out a couple of things. Well, not hash, but clear the air and talk about what's bothering you, catch up for the day. I wouldn't sink your ship. In fact, I'm going to let it continue to swim because I think this could be solved by communication as step one. Try talking to him about how you're feeling, exactly what you told me, that this is what I noticed. You used to say, I love you. Now it's love you. You used to hold my hand. Now it's bear. These are things you need to clear the air about. So I think you can still continue to swim and see how it goes. You never know. So good luck to you. Guys, thank you so much for writing in with your questions. If you would like to ask questions for next week's show, you can find me on Twitter at Jason Galka. I'm also on Facebook, and my email address also, jasongalka1@gmail.com. So as always, I thank you for tuning in to A Ship Called Relation. I'm Jason Galka. We'll see you next time.